If you're just watching the video to see how it turned out, there you go. That's how they turned out. So this is the finished product. If that's all you wanted to see, then you can stop watching the video and move on. If you want to see how I made it, then watch the whole video. Alright, so when we smoothed out the welds, we warped the crap out of this baby again. So this is going to be easy. I think what I'm going to do is just lay a plate in here like that, and then just do it like I did it last time with the sheet metal clamp like that, and that'll get that guy. But I want to get the rest of these warps out. So I don't know if you can see, there you go. So here's the plan I'm coming up with now. We're going to make a new tool. So I've got about 1.5 inches there. So my thought is, if I take this wonderful little tool right here, I'm going to cut it. So what I'm going to do is cut it here, and then probably cut it around here, move this part down, and then we're going to trim this back and see if I can get to 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches is there. So we're going to cut all that section out and try and keep 1.5 inches or so, and then move this guy down to here, drill a new hole, drive a new little rivet in, move this whole thing up, weld it, maybe take a little section of this out and weld it into here. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can just cut this off long here, bring it up here, and weld it. And then we'll have something we can turn that way, go into this, clamp it down, flatten it out. That's my plan. That's the tool we're going to make. I like these Bremen tools. I was really let down by Vice Grip when they moved offshore to China. So Vice Grip was Peterson Vice Grip, and then Peterson got bought out by Irwin, so it was Irwin Vice Grip. Then, but the parent company of Irwin is Rubbermaid. So I called like some pretty high up people at Rubbermaid, because that's what I'm good at. If anybody ever needs help getting to the top of a company because shit rolls downhill, I can help you with that. So I was emailing some and talked to some pretty high people up in Rubbermaid, and their defense was, well, they're still designed in the United States. And I said, yeah, that's great, but you guys just shipped all these American jobs off to China. So guess what? Just what I told him. If you guys are going to sell Chinese-made vice grips, I'm just going to buy Chinese-made vice grips of any brand I want because they're a lot cheaper. So I'm buying the Harbor Freight Bremen ones now. I think they're pretty good quality. They're better than the Pittsburgh ones. I was going to use a Pittsburgh one for this, but I like the Bremens better. I've got some plans for some other ones I'm going to be making here too. But this is the starting plan for this one. So wish me luck. Hopefully we can straighten this baby out and make ourselves a nice little new tool. This is just going to come across flat like that now when we're done. Here's a little thing I noticed. I should have been a little bit more careful when I bought this set. This little guy is kind of crooked on here. So maybe I was wondering why when I closed it, it was kind of closing off to the side. The problem is when they got the plastic around them, it's hard to tell. So we're going to be hitting this rivet out anyway. So we'll fix it in the process and get it to work better. But it's kind of crooked. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. Not real happy about that, but we'll fix it. We will fix the problem. All right. So our first line, so we're going to try and cheat this because I really don't want to have to cut this and weld a section in if I don't have to. So we're going to get our first line here like that. That's how I think we're going to do it. Right there. If you can see, get it nice and parallel. Then we're just going to find our spot, which I think is going to be around there. And we're just going to lay a nice line down it. Then we're going to come in and lengthen this, and we're going to cut into this and try and get this a little bit straighter, parallel with that. Then we should be able to just drop it down, and then hopefully we can cheat it from there. But that's my thought. All right, you can kind of see what we came up with. We're going to follow this line on the first cut right there, and then our second cut, we're going to come in and follow this line down here, and then that'll give us, then we can flatten this guy off here. We can follow this line, flatten that, or maybe even use some of that down here because we've got plenty of material, and just come in, move it down, and hopefully this is going to work. And then we'll be able to trim this guy back here by whatever amount we need to. And then hopefully I don't have to put some material into here, but we might still need to do that. But that's what I'm coming up with. We're going to do bandsaw on this one. So we're going to go hit it here. Then we're going to come outside that line, come down here. Somewhere we're going to cut it off here. I haven't exactly decided yet where. I'd like it to probably follow this line. That's why we cut it this way, is hopefully I can bring it in kind of parallel to where it is when we weld it back on. That's what we're coming up with though. So we're going to do the Shannon Campbell trick, and we're going to put a board under it so it's leveled out with the board, so we cut it on the bandsaw. That's the plan. So we cut it. We're probably going to end up cutting some off right there, but we're going to figure this out first. I came in with the flap disc, kind of grinded this guy down. So now we're just going to take a punch and drive it out, and we may be able to still reuse it. We'll see what happens. But got to fix that baby. They had a little problem at the factory, so we'll fix that up. And then we got to shorten this guy, come back in, because we got to be about 1.5 inches. So working through the problem. You can see the punch made short work of it. I just put it on the anvil, braced it to like right there, hit it with the punch. It's going right in, no problem. All right, I marked it right there. That'll give me around 1.5 inches. Straighten this guy out quite a bit. I hit it with a punch on the vice grip side and punched it down, and now I'm bending it back a little so it'll fit on there. I'm gonna have to duplicate this guy in here somewhere, I think, best I can. I think I'm gonna probably have to cut this and maybe add a little section of this into there, is what the plan is gonna be, I think. So stay tuned. Working through it though. The nice thing is I'll have plenty of latitude to just figure out this and get this right about there-ish, and that'll be what we're looking at. Stay tuned. All right, so we cut it back. I'm holding it up there to kind of mock it up a little. This is a 15/64 transfer punch. I think we get it on the anvil and hit it about there, and I think that's going to set us up pretty good. I'm afraid I'm going to have to add a section into this, so we will see what happens there. All right, we got a little punch mark in there. We're going to hit it with the 15/64. I'll probably do an 1/8 inch pilot hole first. You can see how this guy looks like he might be a little bit forward, so I think that's how we ended up forward here, because I kind of laid it out about like that, and you can see the transfer punch in the center of the hole there, so I think that's pretty good. We will see. So it was cutting really nice with my pilot hole, and then my bit broke. Can't remember the last time I broke an 1/8" bit. So what I'm going to do is take this punch here and see if I can just break the bit into little pieces and knock it out. So that's the plan. I'm like, I could feel the bit starting to break through and everything right there. You can kind of see it, and I don't know what happened. Kids got skills. I was looking at it from the back side where it was poking through, and I said to myself, I think I could hit that with the punch from the back side and knock that bit out. Sure enough, went right through. There we go. Now we're going to do our main hole. I think it's 15/64. All right, we got our components here. You can see on, oh, that was nice. Up in a second. You can see how I drove the punch on this guy and smashed down the side that was all lopsided. So a lot better. Ran the 15/64 drill bit through it a few times. Same here, chamfered the holes. So once I find my little pin I just dropped, I think we're going to try and do a little test fit and see where we end up on the clamp. All right, plan's coming together. This, you can see, go like that. You can see our little gaposis there. I'm really thinking about just trimming a piece, putting it in there, welding it all together. Because if I cut this thing in the middle and then weld a piece in, what's going to be stronger? I don't know the answer to that. I'm kind of thinking I weld a piece in there, lay some nice fat welds down each side, maybe one down the middle, grind it back out, and should be strong as I'll get up, and I'll know it if it's not. But we'll cut the shark's fin off. But that's what we're kind of looking at here. I'm feeling pretty good about what we're doing. I think it's going to work good for our purpose. So got it all drilled there. This guy's working. It's coming together. All right, we need that nice little piece to put in there. So we're going to make a cut down this, and then we're going to cut this guy off here. So that's going to give us our nice little chunk to put in down here to space us out on that. So we're using the free material. It'll all match, and hopefully it welds well. So we're using the Shannon Campbell trick, and we're going to lay it up there like that. Run it down the deal on the bandsaw. All right, so we got our little cut going here. Kind of went off path there, but then I cleaned it up. So that's going to be our little piece. Now we're going to do a cut that way. Take that baby off. All right, we're all clamped up. Not perfect, but not bad either. Thinking if we could somehow get a tack in there and then get it tacked up over there, then we can clamp it down the table and weld it. Got the little guys lined up pretty good. Let's close this up like that. Pretty good, I'm thinking. I think that's gonna work. It's perfect? No, but it's pretty close to what we want. I'm hoping if I could just get this tacked up, we can lay some welds in there, and it'll be strong as I'll get up once we weld it all together. And that should give us our body panel worker that we're looking for. So we'll see. See what happens when we tack it. All clamped up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and TIG spot weld it in, because I'm afraid if I come up with the MIG, I'm going to burn out that center part. So I'm going to try and just lay a little bit of material down with the TIG and then come in hot with the MIG and go over it. So that's the plan. All right, the TIG's working out all right. I need thicker wire. I'm using 16th wire with a 1/8" tungsten. I was started out at 200 amps, which was way too high. I'm at about 180 now, and I'm throttling it. You can see as soon as I hit it with the throttle and throttle up the amperage, man, with the foot pedal, it just melts right in. So what I'm doing is just filling material in there, filling it in good. So then we're going to come in, clean it up with the wire wheel probably, and then lay some hard welds down with the MIG welder afterwards. But this will give us plenty of material where we won't be blowing through or anything where we had that gap. And it's staying straight so far, so that's a good thing too. All right, we got it all filled in with the TIG. We ended up at 170 amps. It blows through that 1/8 inch wire pretty good, or 16-inch wire. That's why you use thicker wire with an 1/8 inch deal, but we got it all filled in. It's still nice and straight. So what we're going to do now is kind of grind it down a little bit and then come in with the welder with 30 wire, set up for about 1/4 inch, and lay down some really nice fat welds on both sides. And I think we're there. And then I'm thinking about maybe cutting this 6mm bolt and making that our new pin there and not TIG welding this like I was originally thinking about. So we'll see what happens. All right, got it all clamped up, ready to make our MIG pass right there. So we're just going to come in with the MIG and probably this way, like that, and we'll see what happens. All right, going for it, baby. Going for it. There we go. See what happens here. Right there. There we go. Burned off the end. Beautiful. All right, get that brush back and let it hang out for a while, and then we'll flip it. All right, round two. Bird's not going to change here. Here we go. Here you go. Can't change, baby. Let's see. There we are. Nice fat weld down that side. We'll leave it clamped in, and then I think we're going to come back and give it a little guy right there. Right there. And then we're just going to come in and probably hit the top, clean up the welds a little bit, and we're rocking and rolling. Free as a bird now, baby. Free as a bird. All right, so we kind of jumped ahead here, but that's what we got. We finished, we kind of ground down the welds. This is where the weld kind of carved in a little bit, but you can see, I think, hopefully we got nice penetration there. And we made up a new pin out of a LS intake, 6mm. I'm going a little long. See if I can just peen it. Most people probably know this, but if you don't, the reason they call it a ball peen hammer is you use this side to peen with. So you hit it, and it is supposed to punch it out. Hopefully this bolt's not too hard. Guess we're going to find that out if we picked the wrong material or not, if we should have picked something softer. Thought I had some 1/4 inch rod laying around, but I didn't. So we're going to go with this, kind of see what happens. And maybe it won't work, but we're going to find out. Our makeshift deal here. The first one, we're just doing that. Seems like it's doing what we want. I
hearing protection on, which I think I'm going to do so my ears don't ring tonight. So far, it's starting to work. Got to get a little. My dad's friend used to own a spring shop, and his hearing was shot, and now we know why. So let's hit it a few more times here. See if we can. Definitely see it doing its thing. Trying not to hit this pad that I worked on so much. Okay, I left this bolt way too long, but seems like it's working. A little more. It's definitely got a ridge on it. What I might do is get a punch and hit it in the center and really see if that kind of mushrooms it, I think. All right, let's go for the punch and see what happens. It's where you need about 20 sets of hands that I don't have right now. That did something. Try that again. Try it. Yep. Do one more here. And one more. For giggles. Now, we'll try peanut it again. That seemed to work pretty good, actually. Yeah. Definitely liked the punch. Now I'm just trying to contemplate here. Do I cut a little bit off of this? Do I dare to do that or not? It's hard to say. Hard to say. Really thinking about it. Might make it harder to hit though too. Might be nice if it just kind of floats in there. So it really doesn't matter, but it'll look better if I cut some off. So I think I'm going to cut a little bit off of that. Or, no, I'm not, because it already started peening. So, do hit it with the punch first. Again. Okay, could do that. Yeah, I think we got it. Let's see. There we go.
All right, here's the finished product. You can see what the difference is here, how much we cut out of it next to the what it came with. Like I said in the beginning, you know, if you want to put in the comments that you can buy them like that, I think you can actually. I think I've seen them somewhere. But it's going to fill and do what we want. If you do it yourself, I recommend making the bolt a little bit shorter that I peened over, but the peening turned out actually pretty good. It's just too long, but that doesn't really matter. It's not going to get in the way or anything, so I'm fine with that. Is it perfect? No. Should I paint it? Probably. But I think it's going to be plenty strong. I really turned the welder up for it when I went over it with the MIG. Let's see how it's going to work with the horn here, because that's what we built this baby for. So this thing that I warped the crap out of, we wanted to be able to come in and go like this. And it looks like it's going to get me everywhere I want to start bending this thing flat. So that's what I was going for with all this, to kind of body work this baby out. I had made the other tool, but this is going to work out just fine. It gets me in, gets me everywhere I need to be, and then I can smooth it down and flatten it out. It's not going to be perfect, just like the tool, but we're going to have dual air cleaners when this is all done. So that's what got us started. Got myself a new tool. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I could have bought it somewhere, but you know, there's something fulfilling about being able to buy something for 15 bucks and then turn it into what you need. So you can't bring me down, babe. Like and subscribe.